There are some engines you just see and think, I would love a model of that one day. For me, the most distinct example I can recall is seeing Alfred and Judy displayed at the Worley exhibition at the National Exhibition Centre 13 years ago, when I was almost half my current age. Given their squat height with cabs built to less than 8 feet in height to fit under a bridge on their Cornwall line, these China clay twins always seemed too petite to ever be feasible in 00 gauge. When Rapido announced they were giving the models a go, I felt all the excitement and trepidation you can expect. Could they do it with their modern know-how, or would the models end up being a case of as good as we're gonna get? Just over 2 years later, I'll finally get an answer. The twins have finally landed, for a hefty price of £250 for the pair, which I ordered direct from the Bodmin and Wenford Railway, where the two engines are preserved. The money raised from the models sold there will go directly into funding Alfred's overhaul, meaning these little models are a big help to their real-life counterparts. Such an amount for such small model engines though must border on lunacy potentially, but these were a must-buy for me. The Bagnall twins arrived in a large, decorated box, so big it would make a Curascale blush. The full art front definitely makes this box stand out already. The product code for my Lines Bright Green livery, as preserved models, is 968002. Inside the box is one of Rapido's owner's manuals containing information on the prototype, how to fit the separate details, how to remove the base plate, fit a decoder, and also features an exploded diagram showing just how many tiny parts went into crafting these miniature marvels. A second booklet, authored by the CEO of the Bodmin Railway, contains further information on the engines, their railway and working life, but the pages are just too big to properly show off. The artwork on the front of the booklet is also shown separately on a bespoke postcard. There's a separate accessory bag for each engine, containing etched nameplates, inserts for the buffer beam so optional scale coupling hooks can be fitted, separate pipes and separate rear shutters. Strangely, there was a loose screw in with the foam. I've no idea where this has come from as the engines are in blister packaging. I'll see if I can figure it out. And here are the models themselves. And it's still mind-boggling to me that these models actually exist. They are so small and squat for 00 gauge. Even with a horrifically close zoom, they look beautifully realised, tooled and decorated. There is neat straight lining, all the paintwork is of a consistent shade, there's rivet detailing, separate parts such as handrails and cab steps. I could go on. The Port of Par lettering on the front of the saddle tanks is nice and even as it arcs over the smokebox door. There is a hint of a gap between the moulded smokebox front and the tanks, but I didn't notice this at normal viewing distance. The buffer beams are wide with sprung buffers that are normal sized, but they look comically big on these locos, and a hole has been left for the tension lock coupler to be fitted. And thankfully these aren't too obtrusive in my opinion, compared to the coupling seen on the likes of the Bachmann, Thomas, Bill and Ben. With semi-open cabs, we can get a good look at the detailed cab interior, featuring water gauges and other separately fitted and painted controls. You'll have to squat down or lift the model up to see this properly as they're so small, but it's all there. Rapido have also gone to the lengths of making bespoke tooling for both Judy and Alfred. I'm not an expert on the prototypes, but the main differences I could see are that Alfred has coal bunkers with curving corners, as well as an additional emblem printed on his rivetless saddle tank. Judy has straight coal bunker corners and a riveted saddle tank. My only main gripes with the engines are some of the quality of the coupling rods. The rods just look a bit matte and plasticky compared to other recent engine releases, and the crossheads on both engines had various degrees of chipping to their black paint. Compared to other quality issues I've seen, these are fairly minor, but worth mentioning. Underneath there are holes for the factory fitted speaker to emit its sound on the sound fitted versions, as well as an indication of one powered axle. I'm hoping that gear covering doesn't get caught on any of my crossings. The tension lock couplings don't look like they're the standard kind, so if they break, where does one get replacements? That's something to ponder and to ask Rapido, I think. You can also see here the plunger pickups like on the J13, and they're in contact with each wheel. These take power to a packed interior mechanism composed of a coreless motor, flywheel, and Next 18 DCC decoder socket. Rapido has admitted there wasn't enough space for a speaker and a firebox LED, so they sacrificed including the latter. All the base plates had their screws, so the mystery of the loose screw continues. On the scales, both engines come in at 82 grams each, which is a fair weight I think considering their size. They have a die-cast metal running board, but that's the only real quantity of metal built into the design. The tanks are plastic. The Rapido twins though are a third lighter than the Bachmann Bill and Ben, which clock in at 122 grams each, but they are also a third bigger all round. The wheel gauging was a consistent 14.5 to 14.6mm back to back, which is pretty close to the standard. Despite their small stature, there is a lot to love about these shunters. My chief concern though is how they will perform on the track with such short wheelbases. Moment of truth time. Let's see if the performance makes or breaks this set of twins. After some running in, the twins start... Oh, Alfred stalled. There we go. Anyway, yes, they can start up and cruise along nice and slowly and smoothly. The motors and mechanisms seem cut out for the job. And there's plenty of juice when the controller is turned up. This is the moment I'm kind of dreading. Let's see how they handle Insel Frog points. That was surprisingly faultless. And same again in reverse. Baseboard joins they handled like absolute champs. Let's send them off around the main loop. So my fears about the short wheelbases seem unfounded, but these engines are sensitive to any unevenness or poor joins in track work. Regardless, they've made it over my curved board joins and also my curved level crossings as well. They are working much better than I dared hope initially. I really cannot complain about how these are running. Rapido have done a superb job of making sure they go smoothly and reliably. But how well geared are they? The twins may be small, but I'm still going to put them through the ringer by handing them over to my train racing driver. Some say that Christmas is his favourite time of year because it means a guaranteed coal delivery, and that he once tried to launch his own brand of festive drink called the Festiny Eggnog. All we know is he's called the Grunt. There he is, poking his head out of the cab roof like the adrenaline junkie he is. And he can warp time and space to his will. Did I mention that? No, he's not David Tennant beneath the cap. And off they go in tandem for the sake of time efficiency. A proper race. Alfred and Judy round the first bend with no punch-ups. Both are running impressively slow for 50% speed on the controller. Exactly what you want out of your small industrial tank engines. They breeze down Deltic Pass and are almost neck and neck as they head past the farm. They cross the road again in the run up to the station and cross the line almost, if not together. Bill and Ben are not ones to miss out on some fun, so they're going to put in a power lap time each as well. Their blocked cabs leave no room for the grunt on board. Is that better or worse than pairing him with either of these two? Off the Sodor twins go, notably faster than their more prototypical brethren. They do like a bit of competition, so here's your surprise semi-reenactment of the magazine story The Stronger Twin. Neither twin bothers to say hi to Trevor, Terence or George, and both make it across the line without confusion or delay. Okay, lap times. Alfred did the lap in 32.87 seconds, or a scale speed of 30.7 miles an hour. Judy did the lap in 32.53 seconds, a very near identical scale speed of 31 miles an hour. So, on average, the Port of Par twins from Rapido did the lap in 32.7 seconds and about 30.85 miles per hour. Oh, I'm going to have to do some rearranging. That is the slowest lap we've had so far, and right down at the bottom of the board with the Dapol Hawthorne Leslie. The real-life engines had a top speed of 35 miles an hour, so these are slightly overscale in terms of speed if you go above 60% on the controller. But you still have plenty of slower, realistic running options available. On to Bachmann's models of Bill and Ben. Bill did a lap in 25.85 seconds, or 39 miles an hour at scale speed, and Ben's lap was an ever so slightly faster 25.21 seconds, 40.1 miles an hour, giving them a combined average of 25.5 seconds for the lap and 39.5 miles an hour at scale speed. That's about 25% faster than the Rapido trains, and the Bachmann ones weigh a third more, so slightly worse in terms of gearing, but fine for the characters they're portraying. The Rapido twins then are fine suited for prototypical running and speeds, and you really can take them up to a realistic maximum speed if you want to, and if you're a bit nuts, maybe a little bit more. Choice is yours. Time to test the couplings, and to show the scale of these I've got out another familiar face. Hector the Not So Horrid. Behind Alfred is the only China clay wagon I own, a custom Railway Series inspired one. Judy's failed to couple. That might be the fault of the light, bulky 3D printed couplings on Hector. Alfred has coupled though. Let's try again. Oh, that was rougher than I meant it. But Judy's coupled. Off our strange consist goes at a very reserved speed, but the running is still reliable. My layout is currently decked out in a Thomas/Sodor guise, while I film my 80th anniversary Thomas model gala. But I must say Rapido have delivered their best models of the year here. They exceeded my tempered expectations and anticipation, and they're going to be staples of all my future running sessions. On to my final verdict. Decoration. Everything here, from the shade of the paint to the lining to the lettering on the saddle tank front, is deftly applied. The crests and nameplates and painted details were all expertly printed, or painted. Anyway, I love how these look. Easy decoration point scored. Details and features. Special edition packaging notwithstanding, the models themselves come with ample separate details and, where possible, all the features you'd expect. The buffer beams have the option to be customised with the NEM coupler gap filled, and there's posable rear shutters to be fitted at the owner's preference. Etched nameplates are thrown in, with the only major omission being a firebox flicker. A shame given how open the cab is, but understandable due to the internal space constraints. I can live without an orange LED, so I'm happy with everything supplied and included. The bespoke box, booklets and artwork are a nice touch, making this a unique package. Quality. This has all the quality it needs where it counts. Die-cast running plate, coreless motor and a flywheel are all key standouts. Besides the crossheads having paint chips, there were no other quality related issues with the models. Given the challenge of making the prototype, that's something I'm very happy to report. Performance. I was wrong to think making a prototype this small was a bridge too far in terms of performance. Besides the odd stall which may be due to dirt on the track, 99% of the time these ran faultlessly. Insel frog points and baseboard joins didn't faze the twins, and despite some sensitivities to track levelling, they ran cool and collected even at the slowest speeds. Gearing is as good as I have ever seen in such small engines. The performance impressed me far more than I anticipated, so that's another solid point scored. And finally, onto price. At £250 for such small engines, does this represent good value? The truth is, I probably would have bought this no matter the price. But objectively, I still think Rapido have offered a special, unique deal with this release. When you factor in the bespoke box, booklet, artwork, etc., you're looking at no more than £120 per locomotive. Each engine is built solidly, ran brilliantly, and looks beautiful. And I definitely feel like I got them for a fair price. Given these followed my brilliant Accurascale pannier, I expected a clear divide in value between the two, but don't feel that's the case. I'm giving another price point away, because these in my view have earned it. My final review of the year then is ending things with a full house of scores. 5 out of 5, making the Rapido Bagnall Port of Par twins an essential item for any layout. You can find a home for these wonderful little engines anywhere, either in a fictional industry or as a yard shunter or station pilot. I would have collected all the liveries of these like Thanos with the Infinity Stones if money was no object, but this pack will have to do. I think these have bested the Accurascale pannier as the most impressive release of the year for me. What a way for me to have to eat my words. So what do you think of the Rapido Port of Par twins? I've made my thoughts clear and can now have fun with these over the festive break. Thank you for watching and I hope you have an enjoyable holiday period, whatever you're celebrating. Take care.